Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, as you could tell, I gotten a haircut and beard trim, so this is like the last one for this year. You know, so, anyways, um, so one of the things that I want to talk about here, as far as that goes, when it comes to our way, as far as law of attraction, law of assumption, all things manifestation, and all that. And I had talked about this sort of thing um, periodically, you know, to various degrees of that sort, and that is the Sabbath state, and and that is where it's kind of like you're at that point of where uh, desire is finished, but it's that point where you feel like you don't really care if you have that specific person or not. You're at peace with all of that. But there's also that point where maybe you just don't really want that specific person anymore. And it's okay not to want that specific person anymore. Because after all, it's like when we manifest a specific person, we start to put this person on a pedestal. And inadvertently, we end up treating that person like a celebrity. They treat us like a fan. You So, anyways, so considering like an example of a thing when it was called like treating a person like a celebrity and they treat you like a fan, and so I don't really remember the name of this one TV program, but it was probably back around, I think it was like 98 or 99, right around that year, where I was in Las Vegas for on vacation, and so I was staying at what was the Las Vegas Hilton, but now it's the Westgate Casino and Resort. So the I don't really remember what station it was, but it might have been like the WB or CW affiliate for Las Vegas or something like that. And so it was one of those behind the scenes type of shows where it was about wrestling, pro wrestling, and if anybody probably knows about this one voice actor, his name is Nick Balquet, I think. And so he's the guy that did the voice for Salem on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, that the version where Melissa Joan Hart was on, and back in the day when it was on ABC, then it was on WB at one point. And of course, he was the one that played did the voice for one of the Angry Beavers character. I keep forgetting his name. Daggett or Norbit. Yeah. So, anyways, so there was a scene where they were explaining this one heel wrestler. A heel is what they call like a bad guy wrestler. A face is what they call a good guy wrestler. And so there was this one heel that was going down the 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 rows of seats, and so there's this one boy who was probably like maybe 8 or 9 who wanted that wrestler to sign his autograph book. So he takes the book, tears it in half, and the boy kind of looks disappointed. And um, so the whole secret there was that boy was actually the wrestler's own son, you know. And it was one of those other little secrets that they had, but I don't really remember remember too much about that there because it was that long ago. And so, anyways, so that was just one examples of when you treat a person like a celebrity, they treat you like a fan. And so there might have been instances where I might have treated somebody like a celebrity and they treated me like a fan, or vice versa, where someone had treated me like a celebrity and I treated them like a fan. You know, so that was like one of the cases there. But um, so considering all of that, a lot of the manifestation coaches have also talk about this sort of thing periodically, which is self concept. And it is more of an umbrella term of things, when it comes to your self esteem and how you view yourself and all of that. Because a lot of times we tend to view ourselves very negatively due to whatever conditioning that we had, whether if it's certain um, ways that we were raised to believe, to keep ourselves humble or whatever the thing may be, or all of that, you know, or and that kind of causes a lot of other problems there. But when it comes to that, is that we can still manifest like our specific person, even if we have low um, self concept of that sort. But we just get that version of the SP that has that response to that lower self concept rather than the other way around. Yeah. But it's one of those little things I have to also mention, when it comes to raising your self concept of that sort, is also like viewing yourself as the prize of that sort. When you like view yourself as a king or queen, when it comes to like having the celebrity treatment of that sort. So there was this one example for me where where I had that inkling of what it felt like to be a celebrity of that sort. And so this was like grad night in '99. So, and where I was dropped off for grad night, and after the whole formalities, and where uh, I was going on this red carpet there, and then because the grad night theme for my class was Hollywood, and I remember it was something like an outer space theme for class of '98, and it was some other kind of theme for '97, and it was like this sort of world theme that they did for class of '96, I think, you know. And so, anyways, the very minute I stepped on the red carpet, everybody that was there that was on the red carpet started cheer for me on cue, even though it was all performative. But I should have basked in the glow of it, of how everybody was cheering for me on cue like that. But it just felt a little bit uncomfortable because it was just all performative. It was never like somebody cheering for me genuinely. But there were times where people were cheering for me genuinely, at one point where it was like sophomore year of high school where but and a lot of people don't know this sort of thing here yet, but when I was in band, and so I played the trumpet, and so there was this one piece where I managed to play the solo passage perfectly, and everybody had cheered for me because I was playing it in a way where I sounded really clear, but it was also the way I was playing my trumpet in a way where it sounded, where it could be powerful, but it could also be a little bit quiet, and we're somewhere in the middle. So that was one of the things there. And when it came to that, I think there was a couple of other times where people had cheered for me and was more genuine. But I think there was but that's just one case here. So the meaning of all that is just it's just that when you have a good soft concept, it reflects back in your reality of that sort. And so otherwise, it's like if you don't have a good soft concept, then negative things come get get reflected back into your reality. You know. So, anyways, I guess that's probably it. So, talk to you guys later.